everyone, welcome back to Bible Verse Breakdown. In this video, the verse we are going to be looking at is Luke chapter 6 verse 29, where Jesus Christ said, "And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also." So what Jesus Christ was trying to tell us in this instance is that when people harm us, offend us, or do things to us that we don't really like, we shouldn't retaliate or think, oh, because he did this to me, then I gotta do it back to him. Because if we believe in the principle that we should love our neighbors as ourselves, if we read Leviticus chapter 19 verse 18 and so on, then trying to harm our neighbor back isn't exactly showing love. As King Solomon said in Proverbs chapter 20 verse 22, "Say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee." We can see here that sometimes it's actually good to not retaliate or take revenge, because God Almighty can handle the situation on his own. If you remember the story of David and Nabal in 1 Samuel chapter 25, you see that because Abigail was able to stop David from taking revenge with his own hands on Nabal because of the way he treated his servants, God Almighty was able to deal with Nabal on his own by killing him and so on. So that just dealt with it. But imagine if it was David who went ahead and took laws into his own hands and did it, then there would now be blood on his hands, so to speak. So he was able to be free from that as a result of him not doing it. But if you look at what Simeon and Levi did in Genesis chapter 34, you can see that they took revenge on the people of Shechem because of the way one of them had raped their sister. So they didn't allow God to handle the matter, but they decided they wanted to handle it the way they saw fit. And also, there's the idea that because we ourselves are not perfect human beings, we ourselves want to be forgiven by God, right? So that now reflects on how we treat others. If you look at Matthew chapter 6 verses 14 and 15, you see Jesus Christ said that if we forgive others, then God Almighty will forgive us. But if we don't forgive others, then we can't expect to receive forgiveness from God, and generally things like that. And the ultimate example is Jesus Christ, because even though he was a perfect soul, according to 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 22, and people, especially near his death, they were flogging him, mocking him, beating him, etc., he refused to retaliate or call legions of angels to get rid of them. If you read Matthew chapter 26 verses 52 to 54. And Peter the apostle had actually commented on this in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 23, where he said, "Who when he was reviled, reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself unto him that judgeth righteously." And if you read 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 7, you can see that Paul made a certain statement about this idea based on what he was observing with the Corinthians and how they were kind of doing something bad. He said, "Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law one with another. Why do ye not rather take wrong? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded?" He was saying this based on the principle that Jesus Christ had given us in Luke chapter 6 verse 29, which we're talking about right now. And one more thing I want to mention is the fact that this is important mainly because some of these people who are doing these things to us, they're not doing it always out of hatred. It's just that they might not know what we know or be blessed with what we're blessed with, which is why they want to harm us in that way. If you look at the way the Israelites were misbehaving in the wilderness, Moses still prayed for them, interceded for them. If you read Exodus chapter 32 verses 9 to 14. And Jesus himself, when he was killed, he said regarding those people, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And Stephen did the same thing in Acts chapter 7 verse 60. So there's that kind of mercy and sympathy we have for such ones, because they don't have the kind of faith that we might have. So that's generally what Christ meant in Luke chapter 6 verse 29, where he said, "And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also." If you enjoyed this video and liked the way that I broke this verse down, then I'd appreciate if you click the like button and also the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I come back with another video just like this, you can click the notification bell. Have a good day, and God bless you.